Okay. So again, good evening, everyone. My name is Brad Gottschall. I'm your Lower Paxton Township Manager. And just particularly for those watching on TV tonight, I'd like to give a brief introduction to the agenda before we begin, and each one of the board members are seated to conduct business. So under old business, the board will entertain a presentation and discussion of a refinancing of the Build America bond and the 2019 new money bond issue by Susquehanna Group Advisors. Second, the board will take action on change order number 1 for the 2019 Township Paving Project, extending the scope of that project. After this, the board will take action on application for payment number 1 for the 2019 Township Drainage Improvements Project. Next, the board will consider taking action on an agreement for crossing guard services with All City Management Services Incorporated. Lastly, under old business, the board will take action on Resolution 19-22-01 through 19-22-10, endorsing and authorizing the submission of Dauphin County local share grant applications. Moving into new business, the board will consider action on Resolution 19-23, retaining HRG Incorporated to revise for the purpose of submission to PA Department of Environmental Protection the Joint Pollutant Reduction Plan with Capital Region Water and Susquehanna Township. And then finally, before acting on improvement guarantees and the payment of township and authority bills, the board will consider action on the 4 different plans. And then at this point, the members of the board are seated and prepared to conduct business. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gottschall. We'll call this meeting of the Lower Paxton Township Board of Supervisors to order. I'd like to ask everyone to please stand, and Mr. Judd will lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. That will take us to approval of the minutes of the April 16th, 2019 meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move we approve the minutes of April the 16th, 2019 as prepared and circulated.
So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Before we proceed to public comment, I would like to announce that prior to this meeting, the board met in executive session to receive information from staff and also from consultants. With that, we will proceed to public comment, and public comment section is for any item not on the agenda. If you're here to comment on an item on the agenda, we will accommodate that at that time. So is there anybody who would like to address the board on an item not on the agenda this evening? Okay, seeing none, we'll move to chairman and board member comments. Board members, do we have comments this evening? Mrs. Lindsay? No?
It's been quiet.
Other board members? No? Okay. Managers report.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, just one quick item for tonight. Just a friendly reminder that the Friendship Center will be closed for its annual maintenance week from August 25th through August 31st. During this period, the Friendship Center staff, as well as volunteers from the community, will converge upon the center to clean, tweak, and provide TLC to the facility, which gets heavy daily usage, really prohibiting the maintenance of some of these larger items that will be performed during this temporary closure. So with that, the township thanks everyone for their patience during this temporary inconvenience. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to old business, and we will begin with a presentation and discussion on refinancing of the Build America bond series and also the issuance of 2019 new money via a bond issue. And we have Mr. Wenger with us this evening. Good evening, Mr. Wenger.
Good evening. Thank you. Can everybody hear me okay? That sounds better.
Yes.
So we had, over the recent months, had discussed refinancing the Township's Build America bonds on or about October 1st. And as you recall, we had about 11 months ago entered into a cash settle hedge to coincide with that call date. Our recommendation this evening is to continue with that advance refunding, or the current refunding of the Build America bonds with fixed rate bonds, and move that hedge over to the proposed and planned sanitary sewer projects that will occur over the next several years. All that can be accomplished on or about October 1st. Given rates today, the net present value savings would be approximately $6 million.
Okay, that's a strong positive. In terms of the new money, can you explain what we're going to be spending the new money on?
Yeah, so the refunding component will be approximately $42 million. There's approximately $15 million budgeted for new money projects. The lion's share of that, or about $10 million, is for the planned stormwater sewer projects. The balance of the $4 to $5 million will cover improvements to the Friendship Center, some police radios, and fire equipment. And Brad, did I miss anything? That covers it, yes.
Bridge.
The bridge.
And the bridge, yes. There's about $250,000 for the bridge replacement.
Okay. So there is a substantial savings to the township to do all of these things in one big issue as opposed to piecemeal?
Well, from your perspective, the fewer times you see us and pay us, the better off you are. So if we combine the new money with the refinancing, you basically are getting two projects financed with one series of professional fees.
That's good to hear. And Mr. Weaver gets most of the money. You like that?
He likes that.
Board members, do we have any comment or any questions or comments for Mr. Wenger?
I assume we'll be seeing that structure in the near future.
Okay.
We did have a rating call with Moody's today, which went very well. I thought their comments were positive. So we don't anticipate any change to the township's rating, which is AA. It would be an extraordinary improvement, and it's a pretty high bar to get over to get to AAA. So we think you're very comfortably in the AA category.
Okay, that's good.
Jay, would you repeat what you said in terms of, as a result of the phone call, that you feel very confident? I know you can't guarantee, but
Right.
feel very confident that we will maintain our current Moody rating.
That's correct. Yeah, so we had
I think that's important for everyone to know and understand the importance of having a rating such as that in a municipality such as ours in comparison to other ratings in other municipalities close by.
Yeah, so there are a few AA rated entities. Central Dolphins AA, the Lower Swatera, I think, is AA. You're AA. So what that really means in the marketplace is that your credit rating carries itself. We don't have to go out and buy bond insurance to improve the rating in the marketplace. Investors, particularly since the 2009 financial fallout, are very keenly interested in solid credits that don't require any help from a bond insurer or any other credit provider. So to be able to issue bonds with a AA rating just on the township's financial strength goes a long way in selling bonds.
Thank you for that explanation.
Jay, I just had a question, and you might not know the answer, Brad might. The 15 in new money, I know 10 for stormwater. So the other 4 items, do you kind of have a little bit of a breakdown on like what the Friendship Center is going to be, what the police radios?
Yes, not with me. Brad, can you
Okay.
bail me out here?
Yeah, so the Friendship Center, those 2 projects will be for the replacement of the remaining rooftop HVAC units. Of course, the township is in the process of replacing 2 right now, but the remaining need to be replaced, as well as some patchwork to the roof. Both projects come at a time where both of those capital improvements are needed, as they are their life expectancy. The bridge, of course, is a.
Excuse me, I
Yeah.
don't want to interrupt, but do you have a price on that?
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
that's what I'm looking for. I'm just curious. So the residents that are here and the residents are watching, so they know approximately what the items are costing.
Absolutely. Let me just, so I don't
Take your time.
misquote the.
going to say, were there any other questions? I didn't want to
Yeah,
interrupt.
are there any other questions for Mr. Wenger while Bradley?
No.
Do any members of the public have any questions at this point? Mr. Weaver, you look like you
Yeah,
are.
just a question from staff. Jay, did you talk to bond counsel, Mr. Smite, about the ordinance when he plans on doing that? The reason I ask is because for the authority part, the subsidy agreement normally happens right after that. And I'm guessing we'll probably do that at the end of September?
Well, we were hoping to do it at the early part of September. I believe you have a meeting on the 3rd. So if it works for the board, we'd like to come back on the 3rd with what we call a parameters ordinance. So all that really does is mobilize us as a team. It doesn't commit the township or the authority to anything until we actually sell bonds and execute a contract with the underwriter.
Okay, so the subsidy agreement, would that be done after the ordinance then? That's normally what happens, right?
Tom, do you want to speak to?
Oh, you are here. I'm sorry, Tom. I didn't see you back there.
Yes. There will be three subsidy agreements actually with the authority. First, for the Penvest financing, that is now pending approval.
Tom, could you get a little closer to the microphone, please?
There will be a total of three subsidy agreements. First, for the sanitary sewer, for which we've just borrowed, we're in the process of getting approval from Penvest. Then there'll be the stormwater management component of this new money issue concerning the those improvements. And then to the
Sanitary.
extent, I'm sorry?
The sanitary then, too?
Yeah, the
then,
sanitary.
Okay, so all those, probably the end of September. We have a meeting, we have an authority meeting on
Next week.
September, well, I don't think you'll have it ready by then.
The subsidy agreement?
Yeah, by the 27th
The
of,
subsidy agreement for Penvest is already done. The subsidy
Okay.
agreement for the other components won't be able to be done until the end of September.
okay. So we have a meeting, just for the board's information, on September the 18th. It's already advertised, so we can do those on the
Okay.
18th. That,
Oh, yeah, all we need is authorization.
yeah, okay.
I have the figures for the new money component, if you want me to give them to you.
Okay.
I didn't know if you were struggling.
Thanks.
The fire equipment is 3.12 million. Friendship Center is 365,000. The radio upgrades are 496,000. And the bridge is approximately 350,000.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I just think the residents need to know what the rest of the
Oh,
money.
I understand.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
just- There was a lot of dead air time.
Well, it should be noted, too, that the fire apparatus that their residents will notice on their tax bills, there's a separate tax fund that pays for that, and we've been doing that annually for, 25, 30 years, something like that. And the police radio, we don't really have much choice because the federal government changed the frequencies. The bridge, we're doing a joint agreement with Dauphin County, so we benefit from that. So all those things are very positive. Yeah, I'll just let the Friendship Center thing speak for itself. Any other questions from board members for? Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Very
you,
good.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that will then take us to action that we need to take on change order number 1 for the 2019 Township Paving Project. Mr. Klein, good evening.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing this
Board
evening?
members. We had the paving project almost finished. We talked about that a few months ago. They have to come back to do one section yet, and would like to ask them to do a section of McIntosh Road and 3 small streets over behind Linglestown Middle School. The original bid was about $844,000. They're probably going to come in under that, so that'll help here too. And these new streets will be about $125,000. The 3 street, all total, $125,000. The 3 streets behind the middle school, Palm, Mimosa, and Fern, will finish out that section. So probably a pretty good thing to do.
Good.
I see that street by Colonial is finished. It looks really good.
Looks good, fairway.
Yes, it does look good.
Jeff, can I just ask you a question? With
Mm-hmm.
McIntosh, with Stray Winds Farms, are they going to be coming back and forth there with all of their equipment? Or we're going to be repaving McIntosh?
Down where we're going to do this, they are done down in that section.
Oh, okay.
That is, they have I think two houses to build in there yet, but they're 90% done.
Okay, I just
so-
wanted to make sure we weren't going to do all
Well,
the work.
I
and
don't
then-
know if they're going to use that way to get up to, toward Colonial Road, they still have some building to do up there, but that's not in the near future, and I would think not.
Okay, good, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Any public comment? Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move we approve change order number 1 for the 2019 Township Paving Project as presented and recommended by Mr. Klein with an increase of the change order in the amount of $124,710.82.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. That takes us to item C under old business. Action on application for payment number 1 for the 2019 Lower Paxton Township Drainage Improvement Projects. Again, Mr. Klein.
Okay, Greenland Construction got the bid for our secondary stormwater project. The bigger one is in conjunction with the sanitary sewer in Linglestown. They have basically just mobilized and started and set up their whole project. However, they did send the first pay app in for $27,000 or
$405.
yeah, okay.
27.
So it's time to pay them. They're just now getting started, though.
Okay. Initial payment, pretty straightforward. Any questions? Public comment? And is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move we approve payment number 1 for the 2019 Lower Paxton Township Drainage Improvement Project in the amount of $27,405 as presented and recommended by Mr. Klein.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We need to take action on an agreement for crossing guard services with All City Management Services, Inc. Mr. Godshall.
Yes, members of the board. As discussed at several previous meetings of the board, tonight we have before this body for action an agreement with All City Management Services in the amount of $32.61 per hour per crossing guard, representing an increase of $7,200 for the total crossing guard program. And of that, of course, the township is only responsible for $3,600 worth of the increase, as the remainder comes from the school district in the form of an agreement with them. So after confirming with Director Koshiba, of the approximately 150 times where the township's police department was dispatched, if you recall back to when the director was giving those numbers, all instances were for the actual posting, for the actual coverage of posts. At last meeting, the director had mentioned that during some of those calls, some traffic assistance was provided, and he wasn't really sure, what percentage of those calls were for just covering the shift if there were a call off. He confirmed today that after looking through the records downstairs in the management system, that those dispatch instances were for only the coverage of shifts and not for anything else. So I asked him to provide an assessment of, in his estimation, what that cost the township to provide that service in coverage, and he gave an estimated cost to the township of about $5,000 over that 150-time dispatch. I also was provided with a bit of clarification on the question, where does this organization solicit applicants? And their response from All City Management was that they utilize a system called what they deem as Better Team, and that is they take they do a posting on a number of platforms, including Glassdoor, ZipRecruiter, Indeed, Craigslist, which the township doesn't usually utilize ourselves. So their pool of applicants is typically much greater than ours would be. And then they also expand the radius. They feel in their assessment that through the utilization of those platforms that their radius of applicants is about 20 to 25 miles of the township. And what they see typically is that the pool that they do have, say they have crossing guards out in Susquehanna Township, they will be, among the first if there's a call out in Lower Paxton to come up to Lower Paxton and cover our shifts. So they do have a pool, and that's what I was able to glean from those individuals. So if there are any other questions or anything, I'll be happy to provide a lending hand, but that is what I have.
Board members?
I just have a couple questions. When we reviewed this last year, I had asked for all city management to come and talk to us so we could ask questions. They never showed up. The past 6 to 8 months, I have asked again for all city management to come so that we could meet the person that is in charge, so we could ask questions. They still have not come. And all I keep getting is they're busy with other municipalities, but we've been dealing with this for over a year, and they could never take the time to come to us and stand at the podium so that we could ask them questions. And my other question is, I see the contract is not signed by them. And usually we don't pass something unless the contract is signed. And then I have another question. Do we have a contract with Central Dauphin that they will be paying for half of the crossing guard plus the increase?
So to just address the last point quickly, we do not have currently in place a written contract that would provide payment from the school district, although we do have a verbal commitment from the town, from the district, that they will indeed pick up the increase. In terms of the contract not being signed by all city management, we can certainly have that signed by them first, if that is the pleasure of the board. The contract has been reviewed by our solicitor, with one minor comment that we have been provided clarity to from the contractor. Other than that, the contract itself passes legal muster. But again, we can certainly have it signed first if that would be the desire of the board.
I just don't like hiring a company from out of state, clear on the West Coast, and never got to meet anybody that would be the representative from this area.
Other board members, comments, questions?
Well, I'd prefer to speak to people that are seeking our business as well. Didn't happen. I don't know that we have other alternatives, but I would have felt better if that would have been the case. I think it comes down to it'll cost taxpayers less to free police from this responsibility and let them focus on maybe more pressing issues and let the administration outsource this administrative task. Will delaying our action tonight, will that impact having this ready for the school year?
We would certainly try our best to make it work, although the indication we have received from all city management is this is the time to take a look at action if the board so desires. Anything later would make it a lot more difficult for them to implement what they need to in order to get everybody on board it through their system.
And if we pass this tonight, I guess the fear would be, if it's not already signed, that somehow it could be changed between us passing it and it being executed. Could that actually happen?
No, I mean, it would be reviewed by solicitor again, by myself. There would be no way to have it
All right.
changed.
Well, and the school district, I think we have a relationship with them. I think they'll be they're not going to try to stiff us on $3,600. But I wish maybe more ducks were lined up. But if we need to proceed now, I would like to proceed now.
Brad, I have a question. You're saying it costs the taxpayers an extra $5,000, but the police that were there, they were not called in to do those shifts. They were already working at the police department, and at that point, they had to go over and fill in.
Certainly, that is correct. I guess it would be deemed an opportunity cost. You know, they could have spent their time, you know, fighting crime instead of
Okay.
covering a crossing guard shift. But you are correct. They were already. This wasn't a call out situation where they were not already on duty.
Any other board members?
Yeah, one question. Brad, would I be correct in assuming that they will not conduct interviews until we sign a contract?
I cannot confirm that, but I'm almost certain that that would be the case. But I can certainly. I'd like to say I can find out, but if the
Because
board wants.
we have a longtime crossing guard here this evening, and his concern was having as much time to make a decision whether he's going to be looking for another job or whether he's going to be hired. And I thought we kind of made an unofficial commitment that he would be given priority to be interviewed. Am I correct on that? So,
Well, we would ask them to do that. I don't know if we can
well,
commit.
that's what I'm saying.
I don't
Can we ask them before we sign the contract?
But, and I'll reiterate exactly what Mrs. Lindsay has said. We have respectively requested someone from that organization to come to discuss the issue with us. They have chosen not to come and discuss any of the contract parts. I have great concern about the company itself.
Okay, well, any public comment? Please come to the podium and give us your name and address, please.
My name is Dolores Roberts. I live on Crumbs Mill Road. My question is, all city management, have you talked to like Susquehanna Township about how they run their crossing guard program? You know what I'm saying is like Susquehanna Township, you said that they do their program over there. And how is that working out for Susquehanna Township?
Yeah, they were not on the list.
I think it was
Oh,
Swatara.
Swatara.
It's
It was
Swatara.
Swatara.
Oh, Swatara.
Susquehanna was
Okay.
not.
And how is Swatara working out?
Yes, if I may, I have not personally reached out to them. Director Koshiba has indicated that he reached out to seek their comment, and they had provided positive reviews of all city management. I know he I don't want to do it disservice, but I know he gave a stat of how many times the township itself had to call one of their police officers out to provide coverage to all city, and I just don't remember that stat, so I don't want to misquote it. But they had provided positive.
Well, I was a full-time crossing guard last year at Mountain View, and I have been a substitute for the last 11 years, and I've covered all the posts. And I just think that the fact that this company did not come here to talk to us or to you, I think that's a disservice to them. I would not vote for that, but
Are you coming back again this year, Mrs. Roberts?
yes, if
Well,
Wendy comes and I have
depending
to.
who, she may or may not, depending
Yeah,
on whether
exactly.
the
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying
contract
if,
is.
okay, right.
Thank you.
I just have we posted on the Facebook, we posted on the website, we put it in the Paxton Herald, and we got nothing. And I just, saying all those different places that they post, and we got nothing. I just wish there was somebody standing there that we could talk to.
I will say this, the places where they post, that's how it's done now.
Yeah, I
It's, newspaper readership has fallen way off, and trying to recruit personnel through newspapers just.
Oh, but even on our, we did the Facebook and.
Even
we-
that, usually Monster and a lot of the other job websites, that's how people look for jobs and hire now.
This is a one-year
Yeah.
contract? Okay,
And I
so,
think it says we have 60 days to, if it wouldn't work.
No, okay.
yeah, it's not a lifelong commitment.
Any other public comment? Okay, I think we've discussed this multiple times, so would anybody care to make a motion?
I will make a motion, if I can do it the way the esteemed Mr. Chrisman usually does it. That we approve the agreement for crossing guard services with All City Management Services for length of 1 year for a township commitment of $3,600 a year.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second? Is there a second to the motion? Okay, hearing no second, then the motion dies. And that's the end of that, unless perhaps they choose to actually come and talk to us. So,
Now, does this, knowing that there were no other services out there that we found, so this commits us into
we continue doing
the
things the way we've
future for
always.
our police to have to
Yes,
Yes,
deal with this?
yes.
run to the
And
current.
an era where it's getting harder and harder to find volunteers for this kind of thing. And I hate that. I hate that we have committed people willing to do it, but the pool of people willing to do it keeps shrinking.
Well, this wouldn't be a volunteer.
I think it-
Well, no, I don't mean volunteer. I mean people, generally retirees, people who do this in addition, or after they've left their full-time. This is getting harder and harder and harder. And it's going to come back. We're going to have to deal with it again.
Well,
What-
we
what
have,
does-
we have 3 posts, and we have 3 crossing guards at the post. So what I had suggested before is we try to get some alternates. So if we can get that word out there, that we need some alternates, we have the 3 posts and we have the 3 crossing guards. But
In-
they can't help if they.
In theory, this organization claims they have the personnel to do the job. The question, my question is, in reality, do they? If we're struggling, are they not experiencing the same issue?
Well, they do in Swatera, but I respect the vote.
I don't know.
respect the action that we took.
Well, unfortunately, they are not here to answer any of these
Exactly.
questions. I think were they to be here, we could ask questions and get
That is true.
some level of comfort. So,
That is true.
So
Absolutely.
basically, until such time as they wish to value our business enough to send somebody, we continue doing things the way we've
That
always
is
done
true.
them.
Well spoken.
Of course,
And if
I don't like the phrases because we've always done it, but we don't really have any other choice. So,
Exactly.
Yeah,
Can
and
we
another,
move?
I just have one more comment. And Chris, you had said $3,600. That is the additional fee. The additional fee from what we're paying, the additional fee would be $7,200.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just costing us $3,600, it's additional fee of $3,600.
Well,
We'll never know.
okay. Well, in any event, we've
The action
We've
has been
discussed this
taken.
at multiple meetings, and there's not enough support to put it on the floor for a vote for tonight, so back to the drawing board.
Correct.
And with the board's permission, can we move on to item E?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Okay. Item E, we need to take action on resolutions 1922-01 through 1922-10. This will be endorsing and authorizing the submission of Dauphin County's local share grant applications, which we heard from everybody at workshop last week and ranked them. Mr. Godshall, comments?
Yes, sir. Members of the board, resolutions 19-22-01 through 19-22-10 have been prepared for your consideration for tonight in the order of their ranked position. First being the Lingelstown Fire Company, which is marked as resolution 19-22-01. Proceeding through number 2, ranked as Central Dauphin School District NutriPACs, 3rd, Heroes Grove, 4th, Friendship Center, 5th, Parks and Recreation, 6th, D&H Distributing, 7th, CASA, 8th, Devon Manor Swim Club, 9th, Coons Pool, and 10th, Life Esteem. These resolutions will be sent along with a cover letter outlining these ranks, and they will be provided to the county and also to each one of the applicants themselves.
Very good. Any board member questions or comments?
This is rather straightforward.
Congratulations to all the, we're thinking the
No,
same?
no, go ahead.
Congratulations to all that did participate. I see we do have some of them here in the audience tonight.
And just the comment that I would add before I make the motion is every one of the projects was very worthwhile. So it is difficult if we sit here and are forced to rank them. Remembering these are our recommendations, we don't make the final decision with regard to the amount of the appropriation that's granted, or even to the organization that is applying to the county.
Yeah, this was, I think, a particularly competitive round of applications. I mean, when you look at funding for, fire apparatus to, refill breathing tanks, obviously you want that. You have children who need to be fed. So, I mean, how do you place rankings on things of that sort? So, we'll let the county sort the rest of it out then. Any other comments? Public comment?
Mr.
Well, we love your barbecued chicken, but 60,000 of them might be a little bit. That might get a little tired.
Is
You may
soup
want to
better,
share the
Billy?
60,000 chickens with the county commissioners, too.
Yeah, really.
Have to get a bigger grill.
A bigger grill, yeah, much. Okay,
Okay.
is there a motion to approve resolutions 1922-01 through 1922-10?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move we approve resolutions 2019-22-21 through 2019-22-10, which endorse and authorizes the submission of these 10 projects to the Dauphin County Local Share Grant application process.
So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 That one I don't get to read. I get to read the tough motion. I don't get the good one. I see how it is.
Well,
Go, Chris.
we'll provide you with the cliff notes the next time.
You want to redo?
No.
No. Okay, with that, let's move on now to new business. We need to take action on Resolution 2019-23. This would authorize the retention of HRG Inc. to prepare revisions to the joint PRP for submission to the PADEP. Can you tell us what all that government speak means?
I can, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the board. Resolution 19-23 has been prepared by staff and is ready for board action. Simply authorizes the retention of HRG to prepare revisions to the Joint Pollution Reduction Plan for submission to the PADEP. So the municipal entities desire to continue to cooperate for the required revisions to the joint PRP. We received a comment letter from PADEP back in April 9th, 2019. The municipal entities group requested a proposal from HRG. They provided that. It's in your packet in the amount of $41,560 for preparation of the revisions and submission to the DEP. So just of a point of order, the actual agreement, or the HRG agreement, is actually with Capital Region Water. The municipal entities have a separate PRP agreement that authorizes Capital Region Water to take the lead in this. So rather than have 3 engineering agreements, we have 1 engineering agreement with HRG through Capital Regional Water. Therefore, we have to do this resolution authorizing Capital Region Water to execute the agreement with HRG. We have met with Susquehanna and Capital Regional Water. We all agree that the proposal is satisfactory, and all 3 groups are recommending approval. Mr. Hines is also here from HRG. If there's any questions about the proposal, he's prepared to answer them. And I'll also be happy to answer any questions the board has.
Okay, board members, any questions for either Mr. Weaver or Mr. Hines? Mr. Hines, you look like you wish to say something.
I'd just like to mention that the the cost that was presented by Mr. Weaver is intended to be shared amongst the 3 municipal entities equally.
Okay. Board members?
That was my understanding.
Mr. Weaver, I do have a question.
Yes.
Are there any other engineering firms available that we may want to consider for this project?
HRG has done a good job with the original submission, and we hope they do a equally good job with the revisions.
Thank you for that comment of recommendation. Are you ready, Mr. Chairman?
I think we have a high level of confidence that that will occur. So, any public questions, comments? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move we approve Resolution 2019-23, which authorizes the retention of HRG, Inc. to prepare the revisions to the Joint Pollution Reduction Plan for submission to the PADEP, as presented and recommended by Mr. Weaver.
So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mrs. Lindsay. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, very good. That now takes us, we have a number of subdivision and land development plans to take action on tonight. And we will begin with the action on revised final subdivision plan for the estates at Autumn Oaks Phase 2. Mrs. Zerby, you're going to explain this. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good evening. The revised final subdivision plan for the Estates of Autumn Oaks Phase 2 consists of the extension of Patton Road and the construction of 15 single-family detached dwelling lots. The property line that is separating parcel 3542 from parcel 3543 shall be removed and replaced with a new property line. The adjusted property lines will separate the Estates of Autumn Oaks subdivision from the Autumn Oaks subdivision. The total area associated with the development is 15 acres. The site is located in the R1 low-density residential zoning district and will be served by public sewer and water. No waivers have been requested for this plan, and the plan was approved at the August 14th, 2019 Planning Commission meeting. Mr. Tim Malott is here to answer any questions you may have.
Good evening, Mr. Malott.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. Tim Malott, Malott Engineering. We are in receipt of the comments. There are no technical comments to address, administrative only, and happy to answer any questions you might have.
Board member questions?
Certainly.
Yes.
First of all, a comment. Mr. Malott, I want to applaud you on this project, that this is one of the few we've seen in recent years that have no waivers. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I assume that you have the documents in front of you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. First of all, first question is, are you able to speak on behalf of the applicant?
Yes.
Okay. There are 4 administrative comments, either, and I need you to attest, either yes or no, whether you in fact have completed or will complete in a timely fashion acceptable to township staff of the 4 administrative comments as listed.
Yes.
And there are 5 general comments, same question, but specifically number 5, which is the letter from HRG dated July the 23rd, 2019, under signature of Jason Hines from HRG, that all of those items have either A, been completed or will be completed in a timely fashion acceptable to township staff.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions? Any public comment or questions? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move we approve the revised and final subdivision plan for the Estates of Autumn Oaks, Phase 2, Plan 2019-13, with no waivers listed, 4 administrative comments, the 5 general comments, specifically number 5, the letter dated July the 23rd, dated 2019, under the signature of Jason Hine, with 13 administrative comments that need to be met.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. We now need to take action on a revised final subdivision plan for Autumn Ridge Phase 4.
Yes, the revised final subdivision plan for Autumn Ridge Phase 4 involves a total tract of 16.9 acres to be developed in accordance with the plan. Autumn Ridge Phase 4 will consist of 24 single-family detached dwelling lots and 2 open space lots. Site is located in the residential cluster zoning district and will be served by public sewer and water. The plan was approved at the August 14th Planning Commission meeting. They have requested one waiver, and it is for the waiver of the requirement that the maximum length of a cul-de-sac shall be no more than 600 feet. Staff supports the waiver request due to the cul-de-sac being proposed to avoid significant wetland impacts. Mr. Malat is here again.
Again.
You set me up, Mr. Chrisman. I got a waiver for you on this one.
Yeah, and I was going to comment on that one. Actually, I do have a question, and I don't know whether it needs to go to you, Tim, or whether it needs to go to Amanda. With that waiver, does that have any impact on fire trucks or any emergency vehicles going into that cul-de-sac? That's my only concern. Every time I see a cul-de-sac or where I see that the requirement is less than what we normally require. I just want to make sure that we don't have problems later on with any emergency vehicles. And again, I don't know if that goes to Amanda or to go to you, Tim.
She can speak as well. We did coordinate prior to submittal to get feedback on that. One of the things that we did with the cul-de-sac length, if you can bring the plan back up if that's okay. We actually extended, normally you would do a cul-de-sac and you have units, lots that surround the whole cul-de-sac ball. But recognizing that there's also concern with snow removal, we actually extended the cul-de-sac and didn't put any units on either side of them.
Oh, on the upper side, yeah.
Right, so,
Okay.
so we have a wide area up here for the removal, and the main thing with cul-de-sacs is really based off of the number of units, and we're below the threshold for number of units. And just real quick, it's real easy to see the wetlands here, but the original wetlands that came through here were very narrow, and originally there was a road that was going to extend through. With this revision, we had to lose 4 lots off the community, but we recognized that was is approximately 1,200 feet of less road that the township would have had to own and maintain, as well as the crossing over the wetland requires, being that there's no stream and it's a wetland crossing, you have to put pipes at 10-foot intervals. So they had like 8 pipes side by side, like 100 feet. It just would have been a maintenance nightmare, as well as a lot of additional environmental impacts, as well as to consider the Mindy Meadows project, which abuts down here, is now extending Heatherfield Way to Devon Drive. So now this prevents through traffic going through an area when they should have been using the collector roads. Because now if you're wanting to go to Nye, you jump on Continental, which is a heavier road, and then right to Lopax, and then to Nye, or up to Devon. So it has a lot of benefits to it beyond just the wetland preservation that's occurring with it. But I can happy to elaborate on some additional.
No. I just needed the explanation. Staff was already supporting it, so I'm certain that you've already had that discussion with staff and they reviewed it. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been here with a recommendation by staff to support the waiver.
Okay. Any other board member questions, comments? Public questions or comments? And a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move we approve the revised final subdivision plan for Autumn Ridge Phase 4, Plan 2019-17, with the one waiver request, the 4 administrative comments, and the 5 general comments, specifically number 5 with the 19 administrative comments, dated August the 15th, 2019, from Jason Hines.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved in second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, a point of comment. I didn't go through the review with Mr. Malat, but I'm going to make an assumption, and he can say yes so that it can be recorded. All of the normal questions that I would have asked, that he is and has or will complete all of the necessary items that are on that project that are acceptable to township staff in a timely fashion.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Sorry, I missed that piece.
I believe Mr. Malat is familiar with the questions that
I'm
Yes,
sure
sir.
he is.
Yeah.
Well acquainted.
Yes, thank you. Okay, well, now we need to take action on preliminary final subdivision and land development plan for Astoria Knoll. Mrs. Zerby?
Yes, the preliminary final subdivision and land development plan for Astoria Knoll involves a total tract of 23.82 acres to be developed in accordance with the plan Astoria Knoll will consist of 38 new detached single-family lots. The site is located in the R1 low-density residential zoning district and will be served by public sewer and water. The Planning Commission approved the plan at the August 11th, 2006 meeting. They've requested 6 waivers, and they were approved under the previous saldo at Planning Commission with staff support. Matt Fisher from RJ Fisher is here to represent the plan this evening.
Where is this located? I don't think there was a map in the,
It's right at the intersection of Lighters Lane and Page Road.
okay. Good evening.
Good evening. Matt Fisher with RJ Fisher and Associates. One of the things that may have stuck out to you in Amanda's comments was that it was approved in 2006 at the Planning Commission, or recommended for approval at 2006 Planning Commission. One of the big reasons for that is when we started this project with Fine Line Homes, we started to get into it, and then with the economic downturn, they decided to pull back and just hold off on this project for a while. Recently, within the past year, we just went through the whole MPDS renewal for the project. With that required substantial stormwater changes to the overall site. We were able to keep the lot layout generally the same. We did have to lose one lot just by a matter of increasing the basin size, along with changing around a lot of the basins and adding them. We also added substantial landscaping to the basin, as is required by the current stormwater ordinance. John Kirshner from Fine Line Homes is here if you have any questions more on the history of the project. This was definitely started a little bit before my time, but kind of picked up on it and took it through the MPDS renewal, as well as the final plan before you now. So with that, I'd welcome any questions on the waivers or any other comments you guys may have.
Board members, any questions? Wow.
You ready?
Any public question or comment? Seeing none, is there a motion?
I'd like to ask my questions first, Mr. Chairman, and then I will do it. Matt, are you able to speak on behalf of the applicant?
Yes.
Okay. You have 6 waivers, and you're very fortunate because you have both the Planning Commission and the staff supporting the waivers. So I commend you on good presentation to our staff. You'll have the documents in front of you that I have in front of me as well?
Yes.
Okay. There are 5 administrative comments. My question to you specifically is, have all of these been met, or will they be met in a timely fashion acceptable to township staff?
Yes.
And in the general comments, specifically number 3, which is the letter dated July the 29th, 2019 from HRG under the signature of Jason Hines. Again, are all of those 9 comments either been completed or will be completed in a timely fashion acceptable to staff?
Yes.
With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll move we approve the preliminary and final subdivision and land development plan for Astoria Knoll, Plan 2006-23, with 6 waivers to be approved, 5 administrative comments, 3 general comments, specifically number 3, the letter from HRG dated July the 29th, 2019, with 9 comments included.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Zumas. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, there we go.
Thank you very much.
And that takes us to action on a preliminary and final land development plan for Lower Paxton Township sewage building. And we've talked storage facility, actually. I want to be specific that it's a storage facility, not a sewage processing facility. Don't want to panic the public on that. Any comments? I know we've discussed this and seen this before. Anything staff would like to add to what we've already discussed?
Is there someone here to represent the applicant?
Yes. Yeah, I don't think you have to ask this applicant all those questions. Any board member questions or comments on this? Any public questions or comments? We discussed this at length at a workshop meeting, I believe, last month. So is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move we approve the preliminary and final land development plan for Lower Paxton Township Storage Facility, Plan 2019-19 is presented by staff.
So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Oh, thank you. Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, Mr. Weaver, you get your new building, so, yay. Okay, we now move to improvement guarantees, of which there are 2 extensions. Seems to be pretty boilerplate. Any comments or questions?
Mr. Gutschall, I did not see anything unusual. Is there anything that need to be pointed out to us? I mean, they're both extensions. Mr. Chairman, I'll move we approve the 2 improvement guarantees, and as much as they're both extensions, one for Parkway East, one for Chelsea Falls.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
That takes us to the payment of bills for Lower Paxton Township and the Lower Paxton Township Authority and associated actions. Madam Treasurer.
Yes, I make a motion, we pay the bills of Lower Paxton Township, Lower Paxton Township Authority, the Lower Paxton Township P-Card check register for April 2019, May 2019, P-Card remittance for April 2019 and May 2019, Sewer Authority P-Card check register, April 2019, May 2019, remittance for the P-Card for the sewer for April 2019 and May 2019.
Very good. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, any additional announcements or comments from board members or staff? Our next meeting will be a business meeting on Tuesday, September 3rd, 2019 at 7 p.m. So we'll wish everybody a happy Labor Day weekend, which will precede that, and we'll see everybody back here on Tuesday, September 3rd. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Chairman, we have a Lower Paxton Sewer Authority meeting next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock.
Okay. Now is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
They have to second before you can say aye. Meeting adjourned. That got out of control at the end. That was, well, actually got out of control.